Hey, can we just talk about TPT for a second? Teachers pay teachers, passive income, semi-passive income. These are potent buzzwords, and you're probably here because you're either thinking about starting a TPT store or you're almost ready to give up. Which, in both of those cases, please hang on because I've got quite a few things that I have learned in the last 6 months, and I would love to share them with you. I became a TPT seller and premium at that in March of 2023. That gives me 6 months of very useful experience to teach you. If we sat down and had a coffee in our hands, then this is what I would tell you. Let's get going. Now, at some point, I'll do a beautiful income breakdown like Kristen from Kristen's Classroom does. I have learned so much from her. So if you haven't yet followed her and started learning from her, go on over, take a look. But until then, I've got these 6 months of experience to lean on, and I'm starting to see some results, which is really exciting. So I've got these 5 takeaways, and I would encourage you to stick around to the end just so that you hear some of the free advice that I've got for you that will truly make a difference in your TPT journey. Let me tell you a quick story. I was recently cleaning out our schoolroom, classroom area and came upon all these cutouts and things that I had laminated and fake laminated where you put the masking tape over top, that sort of thing. And they were all freebies from TPT. Those things were so valuable in our early days of homeschooling, and I am just so grateful to some of them. I'll name them here. This Reading Mama and Play Doh, the thing you play with, to Plato, as in the philosopher. Those were some of the ones that kept coming up over and over again. So just a reminder that as your first product must be free on TPT, those can really help people. So I would encourage you, make things with excellence and think about the people who are going to use them, but also think about yourself as a consumer. What did you gravitate toward in terms of freebies? And did it lead you to then buy something later on from those sellers? I think that's a really important piece of information to then bring into your store. More recently, though, I buy book studies about every 2 months to use in a class, a group class that I teach online. Now, I've bought from quite a few different sellers now. I think we've probably purchased with my co teacher and I about 10 book studies. They are not all from the same teacher author. And some of them, when I know who I've purchased from, and I go, yes, love that seller, that book study, that format that she has is fantastic. It makes me feel like a rock star when I teach it. Or if we get to that book and I go, oh no, I hate these. For example, there is one format that, in a physical classroom that might work really well, but as we are online teachers and kids sometimes create a notebook, I'm sure I could make them, but I never was that kid as a student. And so I never make them create these interactive notebooks. Um, preferences. But that's what I'm getting at. When you think about what you buy, think about the way that it makes you feel as a teacher. These are the products that I come back to over and over again. Those book studies that I love, I search her store first. When I know we're going to read a new book, I go to hers first, and I will even message her and say, hey, any chance you would consider creating a study for this book if she doesn't already have it in there? It's a fantastic thing to know that you can depend on the seller because they have huge amounts of products in their store, but also are creating new ones. Also, an encouragement to say that those styles that I don't love, other teachers do love. And so, no matter what your creating style is, it's going to suit some teachers. So, go with it, lean into it, and really figure out what it is that makes you unique from other sellers. The next thing I've learned is to keep going. Think about a store. You walk into a grocery store, for example, and they have 3 things on their shelves. I'm I'm not going to stick around long. I don't know about you, but I think something's wrong. They've been robbed. I might not be safe. There's a lot that could be wrong in that situation, but at the same time, it doesn't encourage me to want to stick around. Think about that with your TPT store. Now, I opened my store on March 24th of 2023. I made my first sale in May, the beginning of May. And then since then, I've made a little over $100. I'm happy with that. I know other people make more quicker. However, I'm happy with it with the amount of work that I've put in. Currently, I've got 47 products in my shop, and I know that each week I can add 2 to 3 products, sometimes more, depending on what's being connected, what's being bundled, that sort of thing. But that goes with the scheduling aspect of this, and it's something I want to encourage you to do too. Treating TPT like a business will actually make it profitable quicker. And here's what I mean by that. As an online teacher, I am super diversified. I teach in a bunch of different settings, but I also know that TPT is going to be one of my income streams down the road. Right now, it's a trickle. I don't think it's a stream, but it's a trickle. And I want it to be more of a stream. And so I needed to dedicate some time to that. Now, I used to, back in the day, teach a Friday evening class. It was actually a very lucrative time for me. However, I kind of wanted some leeway. I wanted some flexibility if we were going to go out, if we were going to do something. I wanted to not be tied down to a class. TPT is that for me. I can, most Fridays, if we don't have a big plan or whatever, we sit down, we're watching a movie, whatever, I can hop on the computer and work on some products. That's cool with me. I have dedicated those Friday afternoons, sometimes evenings, to creating products and getting them up on TPT. That's something that's been really helpful to me to consistently add new products to my store. Now, the next one is kind of a doozy, and this is what has taken me the longest, I think, to learn, especially as I've kind of found my niche. I started with teacherpreneur type products. I enjoyed making those. I've actually sold quite a few of those. However, it's not something I really love, and I've sold more of other things. So I'm actually going to go with the other things. I think there's more of a market for that, but hey, I'm keeping the other stuff in there. So if you want some of that, you can go check it out. However, I have I've figured out a little bit of a process in order to create my products. And finding that groove is going to then make it so much easier to get products out more consistently. Let me show you what I mean. So I had an idea. I wanted to create some sort of a vocabulary game, and I had this money freebie game that I was playing with my kids. Coins. I have 2 dimes. I have 2 dimes. I have 20 cents. Who has 20 cents? And the kid would need to find the matching card. And I was like, oh, I could make an I have who has, but with vocabulary and pictures, stuff like that. So I get on TPT and I do some market research. What does that mean? It just means typing in what somebody would type in if they were looking for vocabulary games in English, French, or Spanish, my areas of expertise. And we look up what's there. And oh, I see there's a few. I know I could make different topics like vocabulary themes. So I could do back to school, I could do calendar, I could do different holidays, I could do sports, hobbies, food. The sky's the limit, really. This is a cool idea for me because I know I can make more of a product line out of it and then kind of extend it and make it cool. But I did need to differentiate myself somehow. And as a linguist, if I can call myself that, I did get my degree in Spanish linguistics, so I studied it quite a bit. And I'm a language teacher, K-12 foreign language, and I know that realia, real photos or the physical object, if possible, are way better than clip art or drawings or something like that, or heaven forbid, no image at all, for kids and language learners of all ages to connect to an object and a new word. And so I thought, maybe I could connect that and bring it in using technology if they wanted to. And so I wanted to stand out. Let me show you what this looks like. So as I was looking on TPT and I found, oh, they're there, but I could stand out this way. Next, I'll go into Canva and I will create my I have who has kind of template. I'm going to use that for English, French, and Spanish. So I'll go ahead and make those. I have who has in English, yo tengo, quien tiene, and in French too. And then I can just add in the pictures or words or whatever I'm using to represent these ideas for students. Then with my QR code idea in order to bring in realia, this is where it gets a little complicated, but I think it's cool. So I went ahead and took this same clip art photos that I got in Canva, and I have a Canva Pro account, so I can use these commercially. I created just a presentation, a PowerPoint, if you will. And that PowerPoint is then going to be exported into Google Slides. That Google Slides presentation then has a link that I am going to put into Bitly, which is just what I use to create QR codes. It's free, 50 a month. And so I could then use that QR code, put it on the product cover, put it on the front image, put it on the preview, and then bring it all together and have these cards. I have who has cards that are going to be printed as PDFs, the Google Slides presentation, which perhaps the teacher would have up on the screen, and the thing that gets called out is then going to be chosen up on the screen so that kids can all make a connection to it, not just the two kids who had those cards. And then I can then make a little connection with the bundle cover. Maybe I can bundle all of my English, I have Who Has Games, all of my Spanish, and all of my French vocab games. Okay, this is getting a little complicated, but you can see where having a flow, getting them in together is really helpful. Then I also want to figure out what my title is going to be. This is where SEO comes into play. Again, using your search terms as you would as a teacher is probably the most logical thing, but type it all in. Try it again. Try different order. Try different combinations or other synonyms you can come up with that would give you similar results. For example, activity or game. This is kind of a game, but I might call it like vocabulary activity game and see what comes up. See if I get a good amount of results there. That might be helpful. Then I'm gonna create some keyword laden copy to put in my description. Again, I want that first little bit to be super keyword heavy so that the search engine will bring up what people are searching for, and hopefully my product is what they're gonna get. Finally, I'll upload all of that to TPT, but don't worry, it's not only going to TPT, it's going to other sites like Nuggets of Wisdom or Teach Simple or my own website or my own Koji. For example, if you haven't heard of Koji, I made another video about that. I'll put that up here and in the description, but it's kind of like a link tree for your own products, which is cool. So very simple way to get those same ideas out into the world and sell them. All right, now we've created and listed the thing. How do we promote it? How do we get people to find it? Well, on TPT, there's enough of an audience that people are probably going to find it if they're searching for it and if you have phrased all of your words correctly. However, if you're looking for other marketing opportunities, I sometimes create videos about my products so that people can create something similar or help use it in their homeschool or in their language classroom. That's one way to do it. The other way is posting about it on social media, creating reels, creating short videos, just showing what you've created. I make videos for each of my products, and they are super simple to make. I've got a template that I put in kind of the problem that this will help you solve, the outcome that it will give you, and here's how it works. I'll explain how the product works a little bit. So it's kind of an easy thing once you've got the workflow figured out, but until then, it does take a second to really understand how this all can fit together. Now, ideally, before you went through all that trouble, it would be great to get some feedback. If you have the opportunity to do that before you get it up in your store, fantastic. Here's what I did. I have a few friends who are administrators or are in charge of some language learning areas, and I gave them my product. I gave them a few games, I gave them some of my writing prompts, and I said, hey, let me know what you think. Let me know what your teachers think. I would love the feedback. There's kind of an unspoken idea there that they are going to give you feedback. And that type of thing is what you can then include in your description. Teachers love this because, or here's what teachers are saying. That's great social proof to bring back and help buyers have a little bit more confidence as they go into perhaps purchasing your product. One more note that I really don't want people to forget about, and hopefully for visiting this channel and or maybe you've been here before, you know that we also homeschool. And so the homeschool community is huge and they're discovering TPT without fail. Every week I find in kind of the places where I post in Facebook groups, hey, did you guys hear about this website called Teachers Pay Teachers? There's a bunch of free stuff on there. They're slowly starting to trickle in, guys. We need to make sure homeschool families feel like they can find our products as well. Finally, and this is where I think you're going to get the most value, is to find someone to learn from. Now, I already mentioned Kristen's classroom. She taught me a lot about kind of the marketing and building up of your store type ideas, but I learned so much from day one from Lauren Fulton. She's got something called a Rebranded Teacher Academy. This is a membership that you can join. This is a membership you can join. Every month there's a challenge. There's different courses within the membership that you can take. A very cool opportunity if you want to learn about that. I've got a link below, but something that I've really benefited from as somebody who wants to just soak in the information whenever I've got a free minute. So if I'm washing dishes and I can pop in a podcast, I want to listen to hers. She's got a podcast out there with a lot of the same information that's in RTA, her membership. And so I just listened from episode 1, took notes, made notes, left voice messages for myself, that sort of thing. with the basics, things like copyright, things like titles and covers and all the rest. There's so much to take into account. And so I would say find somebody that you want to learn from. There's a lot of people out there that give great information. This is just what I've used. So, that said, what do you think? What are you going to do in order to take your next steps with TPT? Whether it's starting your store and kind of taking the leap with your freebie, or taking a step back, reevaluating what you've got on there and seeing how you can improve it in order to see results. I would love to hear what you thought about some of these ideas in the comments. And if you've got questions, please let me know. I would love to help however I can. If no one's told you yet today, thanks for doing what you're doing. It's important. Happy teaching.